This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, y'all, welcome to our Emma support group. My name is Kim. I'm one of the moderators tonight. I have to warn you, I had my Archivist infusion yesterday and my steroid. I've been up since 1 a.m. today, so not a lot of sleep, so might be a little extra goofy than normal. More cognition issues than normal, so just bear with me as anyway. Let's see. I'm currently an Ocrevus, diagnosed in 2012, relapsing remitting, and I live in Iowa. And let me know when you introduce yourself if you need time tonight to speak. Marlo, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
My name is Marlo, Sterling Heights, Michigan. Onset 97, diagnosed in 22. Started DMT in 7 of 22, and I don't have anything to talk about.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Marlo. Frank, welcome, and introduce yourself, please.
Hey, my name's Frank Austin. I was diagnosed in 1997. I have secondary progressive MS, and I'm not on anything. I don't need any time at all.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Jennifer, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I am Jennifer. I'm from Michigan as well as Marlo, except I'm about 2.5 hours north from him. I was diagnosed with MS.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we lost you. You
It's
are
on mute.
muted now. Yeah, you got muted, Jen.
You're muted, Jen.
I wonder when I made her an organizer, if it maybe muted her accidentally. I don't think so. Oh, she thinks so. I'm sorry, Jen. I did not mean to, I meant to make you organizer only. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Off to a great start tonight, guys.
Oh no, we're cooking with Crisco. We're doing good. I was diagnosed in 97. I'm currently taking Rituxan. And yes, I would like a moment to speak tonight. Thank
Okay, great. Thank you, Jen. Carmen, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Carmen from Canada. I'm up in Kelowna, British Columbia, and I'm happy to report that the fires have settled down a little bit, so that's good. Anyway, I was diagnosed, I keep saying I had 2014, but it's actually 2013 with primary progressive, and I'm on Ocrevus. And yes, I would like a little bit of time tonight, please.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. Andrea, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
I'm Andrea. I live in North Carolina. I was diagnosed in 2011, 2012 with relapsing remitting. I am currently on Ocrevus. I am achy, tired, and cranky. So other than that, no, I don't have anything to talk about tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Courtney, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
And you're on mute, Courtney.
Okay, well, we'll go on to the next person and maybe see if Courtney wants to unmute here or figures it out. Sherry, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Sherry from Michigan, diagnosed in 2008. I'm not on any medication. I need a little bit of time tonight.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. And then we have Jerry. Welcome, Jerry. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes. Um, my name is Jerry Pelfrey. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I actually have advanced prostate cancer and have had since 2019. I'm here thanks to Rick because in my last CT, the radiographs showed that I also have autoimmune disease. I've had vitiligo for at least 8 years. But now it's showing up that I have a new autoimmune, which is MS. It's going after my nerves, my sheath, my milieu, eating it up. And that's all I know right now. So I have to pursue this, and I am a neophyte on this side.
Okay, well, you have come to the right group to get a bunch of questions answered because you got a bunch of experts right here in this group.
Yeah.
MS is an interesting disease because it affects everyone differently. I would say in general, my personal observation is everyone has issues with fatigue, and then we all both kind of drop into two groups where some of us have more mobility issues and other have more like cognition issues, and we also can overlap with those too. But that's how I would put it in a nutshell. Anyone else want to comment on that? No? Okay. I have more of the cognitive issues. I'd say Jennifer's doing great on the cognitive issues, but she has more of the mobility issues. So it's just so we have the same thing, but yet we experience it in different ways. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with prostate cancer. We're all different.
Yeah. So it just makes
So
it real interesting.
you're just telling me that you're all different too. So that's familiar.
Did they, do you know if they diagnosed you with like relapsing remitting, primary progressive, secondary progressive? Nothing.
They
No.
haven't, no one has yet.
Okay.
This was in line with my 3-month Mayo process every 3 months. I guess you'd call it process. Lab, CTs or MRIs, and a discussion with the genital medical oncologist. Funny enough, the oncologist there at Mayo, my GU, and then also my medical oncologist here in Tucson, neither one of them have said anything about that finding. I mean, I happen to have some history in radiology, so I was rather familiar with the CTs and that. And so I'm here because I found it. And thanks to Rick, he gave me a good name of an individual in MS at Mayo that he recommends. And so I don't know why my camera keeps going on and off. So I'm going to follow up with him and, obviously get the first diagnosis. And it's probably I hope it's rather early and maybe we can catch it, but autoimmune diseases are weird. So, anyway, that's who I am. That's what I got. And that's why I'm here.
We will
Do
swing
you
back. Go ahead.
do you have any symptoms?
No, none at all.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, believe me, I know what's coming if this doesn't get stopped.
And let's just go
Well,
ahead and get the rest of it. Let me just stop you for a second, Andrea, because let me introduce Mike here and then we'll go back, okay? Mike, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Kim. Hi, everyone. My camera's not working,
No
but
problem.
and I can't stay very long. I'm glad to meet Jerry, a local guy, um, and I feel like my wife dodged a bullet last week. She went to Morocco and was going to go to Marrakesh and Fez, and they did Fez first, and then Marrakesh, and the earthquake happened while they were in Fez, so they never did go to the other city. As for myself, I've had MS for 25 years. I'm a secondary progressive now, and I take no drugs, and I think I'm starting to decline. I'm going to see Mayo in next month, and I look forward to see the results of that meeting. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
And,
Did you
and
need any
can
time
I
tonight, Mike?
Nothing.
Okay.
and can I
Is there-
just add, Jerry, that Mike is the source of the referral. So
Oh,
I am sending you the name. I actually had to text Mike during the prostate meeting because I didn't have it in his record. Now I have it, and he got back to me right away. And Dr. Carter is Mike's doctor. So
oh my. Well,
when we
thank you very
come,
much, Mike. I
Sure.
wrote all that down already.
Mike, do you want to say anything about, since you might be leaving shortly, did you want to say anything about Dr. Carter for Jerry?
Well, he is the head of neurology, and he knows a lot. He's very, very kind, very attentive, and he spends as much time as you need. So he'll get to the bottom of whatever's up with you, Jerry.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't know.
Jerry, Mike is a neighbor of mine here in Tubac, by the way.
Oh, okay. I was wondering when he said we're here. I didn't know exactly where here meant.
Yeah.
We'll all have to get together down in Tubac. I love that area.
And
Let's
then
do it.
Courtney, I didn't know if you wanted to speak, or if not, we do have a chat box that you can talk in if you like. I'll give you a few moments if you want to speak. If not, then we'll go ahead and get started with people that wanted to speak tonight.
Courtney says she's okay. Thanks.
Oh, great. All right. Thank you for pointing that out, Jen. Okay, I am going to start with Sherry tonight because Sherry wanted to speak 3 weeks ago, but she was having tech issues and she was not able to come back on. And I felt super bad about it. So Sherry, please start us off.
Okay, I had an incident this week. I was just sitting in the living room playing on my iPad, and all of a sudden I get, like, I thought I had a toothache. It's like a bad tooth or something. And then I had pain in my chest really bad. I thought, women's symptoms are jaw pain and chest pain, so I thought I was having a heart attack. My daughter called the ambulance because I couldn't even call her name. It hurt so bad. Well, I get there, and they check my troponin levels and everything for 4 hours, and turned out to be costochondritis and trigeminal neuralgia.
What's the first one? I know the trigeminal.
Costochondritis. That's why I was wondering if anybody ever had that. It's
Did
like
they tell you what it is?
your intercostals are spasming or something. They gave me a Medrol dose pack. It said when I looked it up, it said it could take like up to a month to go away, and it's like freaking me out because chest pain freaks me out,
Hey, Sherry. Is it similar? I've never had the MS hug, but is it anything like that, or is it more just like pain in your actual heart?
No, it's like right in the middle of my chest, or where my your something about where your costrals. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
costral is like probably like your intercostal muscles, like
It's
the
your
muscles between your ribs are like spasming. I'm
yeah, it's
guessing.
something that attaches to your breastbone.
Hmm.
So my pain was like right in the middle, and I kept telling him I'm not having like people say like an elephant standing on your chest, It was just like really sharp, and I couldn't hardly talk, and it's still bothering me. But I just wondered if anybody had it, but I guess not.
So I just looked it up. It's the medical term for inflammation of the cartilage that joins your ribs to your breastbone or your sternum.
Okay.
This area is known as the costochondral joint.
Okay.
Thank you for looking that up, Andrea.
Thank you.
That
Wow.
would have been a massive MS hug.
I don't know. It was horrible. I couldn't even call my daughter. I was whispering and she couldn't hear me, and it was terrible.
I
My,
think
my
I
ex,
get this pain. I never knew what it was called.
Really?
Sure, you said sure, Gary, you said you have tooth pain.
Well, it's trigeminal neuralgia, but it presents itself like you got a bad tooth sometimes.
And how is that now, Sherry? Is it still acting up?
No, it was just like really intense, and then my chest started hurting, and it's not too bad. I can stand it. It's like a 3. It's on its way down, I'm hoping.
Thankfully.
Yeah,
A
the
lot
chest
of
thing
people
kind
with
of freaking me out a little bit, because I'm old. And my grandpa had a heart attack at 65, and I'm not too far away from there. I don't know. It
Now
just
those
freaks.
symptoms would have freaked me out too, Sherry. Don't. I'd be in the same boat as you. Like, gotta check this out.
I started,
Mike,
So I
go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, trigeminal neuralgia, otherwise called TN. Um, People think it's hard to get diagnosed for that, and
Yeah,
people think it's their teeth. Some people
yeah.
have all their teeth pulled,
Mhm.
and it still have it. So don't
Mhm.
ask a dentist to help. Make
No.
sure you go to a neurologist.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I've had it before. It just comes and goes. I haven't had it in a long time, is the thing, and then all of a sudden, bam! I get struck with all kinds of things, out of
does your
nowhere.
face hurt, or your hair, or
No,
anywhere else on the scalp?
just my jaw, just a little bit. Not bad.
Okay.
I
It's
started,
doable.
So, Sherry, both Mike and my sister have done very well on carbamazepine.
I remembered that. Yes.
Yeah, for the TGN.
Mm,
Mike, it cleaned it up after about a week and a half. My sister, it's helped her a lot. They just put her on a slightly higher dose. The only interesting thing is that she started having profuse sweats when
oh
she started
no.
taking the carbamazepine,
Oh.
which is when we did a bit of digging, it turns out that they could be related.
Mm,
So I don't know how she's going to deal with that, whether she'll switch to another med or something like that. But it relieved the pain, but she started having some sweat. I don't think that happened to Mike, but like we said before, everybody's different.
mm,
So, but I put carbamazepine in the chat window for you, so it
thank
might
you.
be and she started on a very, very low dose. I think lower than what Mike was taking. She started on a lower dose, and then when she finally got to see the neurologist upped her dose, doubled the dose. She's still on a pretty low dose, so you can get away with a small dose, and it can have an effect.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I hope your pain in your chest settles too.
Oh gosh, I know. Thank you.
Anyone else want to make any comments before we go on to the next person? Okay. Carmen, what would you like to share tonight?
Um, I just wanted to give you an update about, well, maybe Marlo is maybe more curious about where I'm at with my driving, but so I don't know if I told you guys this, that I had told my doctor, because if your doctor submits something to Road Safety BC, that Road Safety BC will cover the assessment, which is like $1,800. So I did that, and I worked with my doctor to word it so that I didn't get my license pulled immediately. So I was grateful, but in the end, I haven't even been driving because my leg has been so stupid that I can't even move it properly. So my husband's been, luckily he's off. I mean, luckily, unluckily, he's not well either. That's why he's off. So he's been able to drive me to my appointments, and now I'm just waiting for like the next step, which is like to get in for the assessment and see what's going on. So I'm kind of grounded a little bit. Luckily, I have my scooter, which is good for the neighborhood, and I could go to the grocery store, which is nearby, and the drugstore if I needed to, but I don't really need to, and I've got lots of family that help me out. So I'm feeling, I'm feeling like I'm not missing it as much as I thought I would, which is kind of funny. Like I never thought I'd be as accepting. I don't know. This has been a weird year, just with exhaustion and pain and everything else. I'm just kind of letting a few more things go and being okay with it, which then makes me mad because like I don't want to accept any of this bullshit, excuse my language, but at the end of the day, makes my life easier if I do. So yeah, just kind of caught in that weird place of, yeah, I know I have MS and yeah, it's getting worse, but uh, like fighting that acceptance, but also wanting that acceptance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
just
I
sucks.
remember when I stopped driving, Carmen, I had to manually lift my leg up off the gas pedal and put it on the brake, and then do it to put it back on the gas pedal. And that's when I said, Jen, I don't think this is safe. I just don't think you should be driving. So, I
Hmm.
mean, and that was hard to have to accept that. And so I get you. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Do you think if you had like hand controls or you'd be
Yeah,
able to?
yeah, my hands are good. I mean, I've got a little bit of stuff in my right side, but like as far as strength and pushing my arms and all that, like I totally have all that control. So hand controls are an option, except for the cost. Like then you're looking at, another couple $1,000s for the hand controls.
Yeah.
And the vehicle that I used to use is a V8 that we tow our trailer with, so it's very powerful. And my husband, with changing jobs and everything, he might need that vehicle, so we might need a different vehicle. We need to sell and like move into a smaller place. There's just so much going on. It's just like
Mhm.
it's just crazy right now. It's just kind of overwhelming. So like I'm just trying to take it one step at a time. Okay, let's get this assessment done and see if hand controls are even an option, and then we'll cross the next bridge. Meanwhile, I'm trying to clean up stuff and like, get rid of stuff. So I did a big closet purge with a girlfriend this last weekend, which felt great.
That's good.
Yeah. But lots of ups and downs, like just, and good days and then shitty days. It's just been like, I don't know. I think I said last time that like with primary progressive, you're not really supposed to have relapses, but I feel like I've totally gone through a big one and just have not come back from it. So really sucks because I fought so hard after my knee replacement to get my strength back and get all my like my walking and stuff, and now my walking is really not good, and I mean everything else that goes along with MS, it's not good. So it's just been kind of crappy.
Carmen,
Yeah.
I've been with my prostate cancer. I have been through, we lived in Mexico for 17 years, lovely 17 years, about 6 hours south of here, place called San Carlos. But we had to move from there because I was dealing with, it had been 4 years, and so we knew that things were going to start happening, and we didn't want to be in Mexico with that. So it took us, we prepared the house for moving. It took us about a year. But so it's going to be a long haul. You know, the road is long and can be slippery. Uh, but what we did was we made sure at the end of the day we were together, and you know, I can't drink, but you know, she'd have her wine and I'd have a cup of tea or something, just to kind of relax and know that we're together still doing this, because it is a nightmare. I mean, I'm not going to mince words here,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll get through it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's that letting go of all the things that you
Oh
accumulate, just let.
my God, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
That just reminds me, when I was having time, I finally started decluttering my laptop of all the documents and things over the years, because every new laptop you dump on the old previous laptop documents. And I was going through a bunch of stuff from pharmacy school, and a lot of that stuff, it doesn't like, I don't remember it. The terminology is like all foreign to me, and it just kept reinforcing that that door has been shut for me. That's in my past. That's nothing I have to like. I can go there temporarily, check something out, but that is not a place I dwell in, and I'm not supposed to dwell in anymore. And that was just like a constant reinformation. It's like you made the right decision. You had to leave the profession. You were no longer, that was no longer a good thing for you. And now that it's been 7 years, I'm so much better. You saw me 7. It was really hard for me to transition, but it's amazing how much you can change with time, and
Mm-hmm.
being comfortable with things that you would not have been comfortable with. Telling myself, oh, you get to medically retire in your mid 30s. Like, I was going to work until I died. I was going to die in the pharmacy, and I had to shut it down for an hour to move my body. That was my end
Mm-hmm.
goal, and I did not make it that far. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I only stopped working 2 years ago too, so I feel like I'm
Yes.
just getting to a point of, okay, like really, I couldn't have kept working.
Hmm.
But like just that ongoing acceptance of loss, it's just over
Hmm.
and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to
Yes.
get to the point. I don't know if I talked about this, Carmen. I've talked about it previously. I don't know if you were on. When I had to renew my license, there was an actual specific question on there. I felt it was written just for me, saying, "Do you have anything medically that prevents you from, essentially doing your job?" And I looked, I said, look, I have tried for 3.5 years to do everything possible to get back to pharmacy. And I am nowhere, no, as you're aware, Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm. And I'm like, look, I have to let this go, or else I'm going to be spinning my wheels in place and feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. And so I understood, and I understood why I needed to let go. It still was hard, because that's one of the things that they always like freak you out in school. Like, you don't want your license taken away. And here I am taking my license away from myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, I needed that closure to move forward for me. Because I was at a stage where I'm like, when the doctor said, I remember reflecting on a conversation I had with my doctor. He's like, if the symptoms has been there for 6 months or longer, the likelihood of it going away is small. And I'm like, it's been over 3 years. I'm not going to be back in that where I could do that job anymore. So I had to say goodbye. And I feel like I've blossomed and I've expanded and grown in other areas of my life. Whatever that vacuum that I created by closing that door, I opened up another one, and I feel like I'm in a really great place right now. And if you told me 7 years ago where I am now, I wouldn't have believed you. But I knew that I would get through that awful tunnel. I always call it like a tunnel. Like, you go through this awful stage. It's just the most unpleasant, uncomfortable, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the whole thing. And I just knew that you will get through it and it'll get better. But when you go through it, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It is rough, especially when you work so hard to get somewhere in a career, and suddenly you're like, why can't I do this anymore? Like, why is, yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second and introduce John, because he's come on. Go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know if you need any time tonight.
Hey everyone, my name's John. I'm on Zeposia. I live in Michigan, and I have had relapsing remitting for 7 years. And yes, I would love some time
Okay.
to talk about my experience this weekend.
Okay. Great. Sorry to stop and do that. It's always hard when people come on later to get them introduced. Never want
I'm
people to
really,
think I'm ignoring you all when you come on later.
I'm really sorry that I am late. I was playing Dungeons and
Okay.
Dragons with some friends.
I hear you, John. It's always fun to do fun
You're
activities.
the second person I've heard say that this week.
Just late because of D&D?
It's not my cup of tea.
It's okay. It's not for everybody. It's okay. We all do different things. Anything else that anyone wanted to add or talk about with what Carmen was talking about? Or if Carmen, you wanted to say anything else?
No, just send me all your thoughts of strength and acceptance, I guess.
I still want to really visit you badly, Carmen. I'm just going to put that out there. I still want to come and help you out and be a hot mess with you. You know what I mean? Like let's help on your house, and then we can then we can have our emotional breakdown together, and then we just like come out. Let's just have this
Yeah,
crazy experience. And I do get my car tomorrow night, so I will have a
awesome.
roadworthy card. So, but with you, it's probably better if I fly, honestly, because you're kind of far away.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So, but
You're
anyway.
welcome anytime.
Yeah, yeah. If you guys did not hear, Carmen did come through. She sent me a liter of the HP brown sauce that I have been craving since I went to Scotland. So she came through, and then she gave me what looked like Smarties to help me with my cognition, but they're really like, what'd you say? It was like a sour, kind of a
Like a
sour.
sweet and sour sugar, like dissolve
Yeah,
in your mouth, just little treat.
yeah. So that was a fun care package that showed up. My husband's like, were you expecting? I'm like, yeah, that's from Carmen. So it was super fun.
Wait
Anyway,
till I tell
enough
you
of,
how much shipping was, though. It's gonna
oh
like
God,
you're
I
gonna. You,
know.
I
Yeah,
hope you enjoy that HP sauce because it's like
you tell me the
not.
amount and I'll Venmo you the money.
We'll talk later.
Okay. 'Cause I know how much the shipping is because I know how much international postcards cost, $1.50 to send a postcard internationally from the US. Like, yeah, and then you spent that big thing. Yeah, it's insane. Postage is insane now, guys. Okay, enough of that. All right, let's go to Jen. What would you like to talk about tonight?
Mm, what don't I want to talk about? Um,
Floor is yours, girl.
uh, yeah. Um, you look especially pretty tonight. I mean, not that you don't always, but you're like glowing. So,
It's my steroid glow from yesterday from my MS infusion, guys. This is what 100 and what's the price now? It's like $135,000. This is what it gets you. Gets you the next
and
glow
I
and
don't know about any of us other on here. When I get the steroids, I just get the fat face. Kim, you get the glow. I don't want to say I'm jealous.
well, thank you.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome very much. So if you've noticed, there's another half of this equation that you probably haven't seen in a while. Dan is going to graduate school again. He's in another program. He's going to Wartburg online, so he's going back to his alma mater in Iowa. And so we're older than we were when we went the first time, and he's very committed to doing this. So it's a 2-year program, and I just want to explain, and I haven't explained his absence sooner, but it's not that he just dislikes all of us now suddenly. It's just the fact that the graduate school is kicking his little hiney a little bit. So but so that's that. I um I I started, and Kim, you told me about the cream or the um of that. I didn't know if we talked about D-mannose, the supplement. And so for anyone who's having urinary problems, it's an over the counter vitamin supplement D-mannose that my urologist recommended, and thank you, Kim, for typing that in the chat. I'm having very good luck with it, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And then I wanted to just ask about if anybody, Dan and I have been talking about maybe because marijuana is legal in Michigan, about trying some sort of gummy or something for pain. He has quite a bit of pain in his feet. And so I just wondered if any of you, that we've had friends tell us their experience, but I was just curious about the MS community, if any of you have used any sort of supplements.
I don't know about anyone else, but I've been using marijuana for at least 4.5 or 5 years.
Okay.
I take it in a capsule form. So capsules are really good. I am not a smoker. I don't like vaping, and chewing gummies, no, drives me crazy. But other people like gummies. That's fine.
Yeah.
And what I
Oh,
use is
oh.
called Anytime pills, and the Anytime is a 25 milligram, and you get 30 of them. And I don't know what the cost, because you're in Michigan and I'm in Arizona, but I can highly recommend it. Go slow, because you need to get some, your body needs to get kind of used to it. You need to, uh, you might, well, depending on what you do, you might get a little dizzy or something,
Okay.
but that's at first. I hardly get any effect now. I still take it,
Okay.
and it did help. And when pain gets worse, I'll take 4 or 5 of them.
So
And
it helps you manage your pain.
oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And now what I'm talking about is a hybrid, which means it's THC and CBD.
Okay.
Now, even with the CBD, you do get a very minor uh, percentage, not like 0.05 of THC in any CBD that they're making, because
Okay.
you need it in the chemistry. But no, uh, I like a hybrid. That means it's about equal 50-50 THC CBD,
Okay.
and I've never gotten this major high from it. So just
Yeah.
Um,
just don't dump
oh yeah.
20 milligrams on you if you've never tasted it before.
Well, and my husband is still working, and I'm sure he doesn't want to get all silly, and he just wants something to help with the pain. And he's been using gabapentin for a different issue, and that's more to help with his restless legs. And so I just thought I'd throw it out tonight about pain. So thank you, Jerry. I appreciate that.
Well, I think John wants
Oh,
to say something, and he's younger than I am, so he'll know more.
Jennifer,
Yes,
allow me to be your Sherpa of
yes,
marijuana
please,
in Michigan. Okay,
please take me
I
to the
know,
summit.
I know exactly which loom you're gonna go to get
Okay,
exactly what you want to get at my recommendation, and I will tell you the person to go to
thank
talk to
you.
us about this. Um,
Okay,
my friend Kristen just started working there, like 2 weeks ago, so she's getting all the training, so I'm sure she'll be excited to recommend and stuff like that. And since I've been to one in the past like 2 months, they're very accessible as well,
okay,
wheelchair accessible. And I can even just send you a list on Facebook of
that's
the
great.
different things that I've tried
Okay,
to say like for like nerve pain or just like I need to level out a little bit. Um, oh, poor I wish people. But yeah, Jennifer, I'd be more than glad to help you out with that. But
mhm,
I am a daily consumer. primarily through bud, I guess. It's weed. I don't know, grass, whatever
Okay.
we call it. Um,
Hot.
and I'm actually pot. There we go. I'm actually consuming right now, and what it's doing for me is, yes, it's making me really chatty, but that is also from just being excited to talk to people after being stuck in that hospital.
Yeah.
Um, but it is helping with my like nerves in my feet, and it's also helping with the stitches that I got in my toe over the weekend. Um,
Okay.
so it lowers anxiety, which I don't know how high yours can get, pun intended. Um, and sometimes
I saw what
there's
you did there. Nice.
I can even tell you what I take right before bed um, that they recommend for sleep, and it does lower my pain enough that, well, my medicines aren't making my stomach sick, and just like a nice medical low to get into it. And it's 50-50, like Jerry was saying, CBD,
Okay.
THC, but they're low doses. You know, I mean, if you want to get baked out of your mind like Cheech and Chong, I'll come over. You know, but if you just want like that pain relief, like you were saying, I'm glad to help you with that.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I know Dan will too. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
I,
nice, Jen, that you have someone in your state that understands all the local laws
Michigan
and
is,
all the minutia. It's so nice and
mm,
convenient for you.
yeah, Michigan is well represented tonight.
So
Mm-hmm.
you got lots of help there. I was gonna say, go ahead, Carmen.
Oh, I was just going to kick in too. I mean, you've got John as a great reference, but I think I've mentioned before how cannabis has been life-changing for me. And the best, I mean, I'm a smoker. I vape it or I smoke it in a bong or I'm not a roller. So if someone rolls a joint for me, I'll smoke it. But I'll also take gummies and stuff. But smoking is just the best way for me. And I find that the best pot or the best cannabis that I have used makes me feel stretchy. So anytime that I'm feeling really dragged down or slow or tight or like in fact I was running around, I was actually rolling around in my wheelchair doing a couple of things to get them done, and I wanted to go smoke before I had this meeting, but then I didn't want to be late again. So I'm like, oh man, now I'm jealous of John.
To be
and
honest, I have no issues if you smoke during the meeting. I mean, I don't, no one has to inhale your smoke, so it doesn't, and if you want to eat, that's fine. Just turn off your mic so we don't hear you eat. It's fine. It doesn't fun. Just don't get naked on camera. Don't take us in the bathroom while you pee. That's all I ask, okay? Just the simple basics, okay?
yeah, I'm gonna lug my desktop into the bathroom.
So I'm
So
just letting you.
Jennifer, I use it for my spasticity and my muscles. That's what I find it really helps with. And then depending on what type you purchase, like John said, it can be really, really great for helping you get to sleep.
Okay.
And I'm sure John can talk about indica versus sativa.
I have heard
Andrea,
indica. I have heard that.
Andrea,
Huh?
Andrea.
Yeah,
Now, indica versus sativa doesn't mean anything anymore.
I know.
When I found out that was like a changed thing, I was like, everything I've known for the past 2 decades,
It
it's just
does to
gone.
a degree though, because
Right,
the
yeah.
indica couch, right? Like the ones that
Indica.
they recommend for sleeping are going to be more of a indica. And that's why they recommend it for sleeping. But yeah, everything's so hybrid anymore.
Right.
There's no such thing as a purebred plant anymore.
I'm actually holding on to my morning medible, and it is blood orange 1-to-1 THC CBD. I'm sorry, CBC, which is just a different way of CBD. And I take this with my morning medicine, and then I'm just nice. I still have pain, It's not a cure,
No,
but you can
Takes the edge off.
forget about the pain. Yeah, it takes the edge off.
it distracts you a little bit.
Thank you.
It's also it can be nice to pass time with too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
Thank you.
And my
I do
edible
want,
is 2-to-1. So 2 CBD, 1 THC.
Nice.
So, how are you doing, Christy? You're just getting here. You want to tell everyone?
go ahead, introduce yourself, Chrissy.
Sorry I'm late. Had some traffic we hit on the way back from an appointment. I am doing good. Let's see here. My name's Christy. I live in Brighton, Colorado, which is just northeast of Denver. I was diagnosed in 2003, and I'm currently on Ocrevus.
And then, did you need time to talk tonight, Christy?
Yeah, just a little.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, Jen, that D-mannose was a game changer for me. That supplement that your doctor recommended. I was having problems where I was getting UTIs like they were going out of style when I was on Gilenya, and it got to a point where my husband was terrified to touch me because every time he touched me, I got a UTI. So I got on D-mannose, game changer for me, but it was a great segue, thank you, Jen, to talk about the webinar that Dr. Rachel Rubin, who did a couple years ago, our urology webinar, and then also did sexual health with cancer and us, and then did a pelvic floor therapy webinar as well. She and her colleague, Dr. Kloss, who I actually see Dr. Kloss for my hormone therapy, had it, and it was on. And this is what I'm bringing up for the ladies. Is she was saying that if you're taking vaginal estradiol, it lowers the UTIs by 50%. And she goes into detail. One of the reasons is that when you don't have the hormones, the pH rises, and you need to be more acidic to help, keep the bacteria in balance. And that she was talking about. And there's different ways you can use, like a pill, you can use the cream, you can use the ring. I will drop that link again into the chat if you want to go check it out. It's like an hour long or something. It's super fun. The two of them are in the room and they're just chatting it up like best friends. It's really cute. But I just want to throw that out there for the ladies. Something you might want to think about if you're having UTI issues to maybe get on. If you're my age and you're perimenopause, or think about getting on to, and that does not give you a risk for breast cancer at all because it's local versus systemic. So just bringing that out there. Okay, anything else anyone wanted to say with Jen's stuff before we move on to the next person? Oh, Karen arrived. Karen, go ahead and introduce yourself, please. Welcome.
I was going to say everybody knows me, but they don't.
Well, we have a new person. Jerry's in here,
I
so he
see
doesn't know
that.
you.
I see that. Karen in Oakland, California, primary progressive. Nothing but Ampera.
Did you need any time tonight?
I don't know. I mean, if I did, I would have been here an hour ago, huh? But
Okay, I'll put you down as question mark. Okay. Did you have anything else, Jen?
No, that's it. Oh, well, okay, I'm lying really quick. There was a group tonight, Stuart, with MS News and Views. He interviewed David, a friend of ours who lives in Bahamas, and he is living with multiple sclerosis, and he's 40, and he was diagnosed with MS when he was 14. So he's super, super good to listen to, and he's living in the Bahamas. And so if you have a free moment, his name is David Benaby, and he was again on MS News and Views, and they did a little chat tonight. So that's all. Now be quiet.
I did have a quick question for you, Jen. What graduate degree is your
Dan's
husband?
going into
Yeah.
it's a leadership degree.
Okay. I was just
Yeah.
curious. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Let's go to John. What did you want to talk about tonight? You said about last weekend.
Speaking of UTIs, guess
Yeah.
who's in the hospital again this weekend with a UTI?
Yeah.
This guy
Unfortunately, you
right
can't
here.
take the estradiol vaginally for you. That's not gonna work for you. That's not an option.
Yeah, but
And
I am looking into that D-mannose stuff, and that looks
Seriously,
like something
dude.
I might very be interested in.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's talk about that for a second. Okay, just
Okay,
curious,
okay,
Jen,
please.
what strength are you on?
I
Oh,
am taking it. You recommended, so I'm whatever strength you recommended, and I take it twice a day.
Cool.
And God love you, Kim, that you got a rolly chair and you're just zooming around your house.
Right. So Thursday and Friday, I was feeling kind of punky. Just thought it was maybe the weather or whatever. MS, we have up and down days. But Saturday morning, I was getting up off the toilet and I have to do like a 270 turn. It's not all the way around, but most of the way. And I can usually nail it pretty easily. Just Saturday, my legs just didn't want to move. So I had a fall. It was slow motion because I was able to like hold myself up a bit, but I landed directly on top of my legs.
Ooh.
Um, and then I fell backwards, and Melissa pulled my like feet out from underneath me, and I was in the bathroom, which is like it's just a shower sink toilet. It's not that big. So I'm on the floor with my head kind of in the shower, and I just lay there, and things are going all right. They show up, and I'm bleeding somehow from my foot, and that's scary when you fall and someone says, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." Like that's scary. Um, so they mega movered me up. They got me to the hospital. Within like 5 minutes, I was able to give a urine sample. Like hour later, is always like, okay, yep, we're gonna start you on this. We're gonna start you on this, and we're admitting you. And then we discussed why there's blood on my foot. Um, from where the blood stains are in my carpet, and I'm apologizing if anyone's sensitive. Um, but like the tack from the carpet to the tile, I caught underneath my ring toe on one of those. So I have 4 stitches in my ring toe on my right foot, which my right leg is my bad leg, you know what I mean? Um, so I got to stay in the hospital with stitches and IVs and phlebotomists that need to learn how to do their job better. You
Yeah.
see those?
Oh.
I mean, I'm a hard poke. Like, don't get me wrong, but this lady was like rolling veins and she blew out a vein. That was not the nurse that I liked. That was a nighttime nurse. My daytime nurse was honestly one of the nicest people I have ever met. Like, I was the first patient she checked in on in the morning, that kind of stuff. And her name was Exie, like Xie, Exie. All right, cool. Weird name, but cool. And she was just really good about checking in on me. Like, I don't know, she was amazing because I was showing her how I could move my legs because it took 5 people to get me onto the bed in the room. And I said, I'm feeling so much better. I didn't sleep worth crap because you know how hospital beds are so comfortable that you can't sleep in them, right? And I got recommendations on how to avoid UTIs better. And I just sent a message to my doctor at 3 o'clock saying, we're looking for like a prophylactic solution, something preventative. And right then, Melissa got home with a prescription for a new medicine to do just that. So my medical team was right on top of that. Like, that was awesome. But the hospital stay was a hospital stay, right? You're dipping your mashed potatoes in pudding so you can eat it, stuff like that, because it's all so terrible. but I was released by like 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, um, with full honors because I said I want to sit sideways in bed. So I did. And then I said, get me a walker. And I did like 3 sit stands, stood there for a while. I was able to turn around and use the commode. And everyone was like, we have no problem releasing you as soon as our paperwork gets put together. So Big Rapids Hospital was right on top of it. And I shook Exie's hand and said, I hope I see you in real life. Because she came in to check on me first in the morning. Like, John, I can see that there's color back in your face, and I didn't know who you were going to be. I said, well, I'm feeling better, so you're going to get piss and vinegar and a lot of demands for a lot of stupid stuff. Like I wanted water, whatever. But it was a bad experience made better. So
Okay.
and now I don't go to PT this week because I got the stitches in. So darn.
Do
But
you
I
know
am going
what
to talk to.
preventative medication they gave you, John?
I gave it to Melissa, so I don't have the bottle in here anymore. But I'll send Rick an email and he can get it out to you guys if you're interested.
Okay.
What preventive, I missed that whatever with Jennifer and UTI, but I got a UTI last year or something and it freaked me out. But I was reading from the MS, I forgot who it is in the UK, and they said it's very prevalent with MS and that it would be great if you could just have like standby antibiotic so that the more you have it, because it was hard for me when I had mine. I felt like crazy and it took a really long time to get rid of it, and it was a little bit better, but it was like, and I had the MS nurse say, Karen, you're not going to have a UTI for the rest of your life. I was just like, I can't stand this, I can't live like this. So I haven't heard anything here in the US saying, yeah, you should have preventive, you should have standby. I mean, you should never take antibiotic without getting at least a culture. But what you said, you had something with, they talked about preventive, or has
Yeah,
anybody else?
yeah.
Well,
So it's a,
I went to get the bottle of mine and then I lost sound, so I lost a little bit of John's story. I lost all sound. So if I interrupted you during your story, I'm sorry if I was like, I can't hear
no,
anybody.
it's okay.
Okay.
No, so the doctor on the floor of that morning um, said, I want you to discuss this like a preventative medicine that will help the sugar in your urine flow better, so it
Mm.
doesn't all get caught up in my urethra, et cetera, et cetera. And then so that was that one. And then just the other stuff like make sure you're wiping this way, make sure you're doing this, and just the stuff we hear every time we have a UTI. But the doctor was also saying, talk to your primary care about getting like access to immediate antibiotics when you turn a culture in. So that's just what I was told when I was
And
standing
that's
there
what I
talking
read.
to.
And that's what
Yeah,
I read on the UK website. And when I had my UTI, it's like a long story, but the urology people took it. Then the advice people gave it one thing, and then it turned out whoever the primary, so I have a like a prescription at home that I saved because they wound up ordering two for me and they go, you never went and picked it up. And I thought, I'm going to pick it up for that. So, I mean, that's kind of new to say, yeah, can you have standby so you can attack it right away?
yeah. It's really cool, and I just like how my everyone's all on the same page because it's so rare that medical professionals are on not only the same page but in the same book. You know what I mean? So I ended up having a positive end to my thing, my stuff.
John,
Oh,
go ahead.
it's nitrofurion.
Nitrofurtoin. Yeah,
Yeah, that
macrobid.
one.
Macrobid. Yeah, yeah.
But is
Yay.
macrobid, what does macrobid do?
Well, there's macrodentin, so it's used to treat UTI infections, but it's also used as a preventative. So my one PCP I had when I was like, look, I'm getting UTIs when I'm, having sexy time with my husband. So he's like, take this before you have sex. Okay. So they have different forms of microbid, because sorry, my brain is fried with the steroids and 7 years overload. But there's two types of macrofruitoin. Okay, there's one that's like kind of treats the macrobid. Bid is BID twice a day. That's what you do for like an active infection. And then there's like a macrodantin, I believe, which is a little bit less. It's more like preventative. That makes
Have
sense.
you ever heard of nitrofurantoin?
Nitrofurantoin.
Yeah, that's the
Nitro.
generic. That's the generic for
Right.
it.
Okay, thank you. As you were talking about this, Kim,
Yep. Yep.
forgive me, I was Googling
Yeah.
because
No.
trust me, I look at more stuff from Dr. Google than I probably should. But
Well,
as
Well,
you were
for
talking,
the yeah, macrobid is
uh,
nitrofruitoin.
no,
all right,
the
gotcha.
furodantin is a generic of furoxone, uh, which, God, that's been there since the 60s.
Yeah.
Macrodantin came out, quite honestly, because the furodantin ended up going generic. And so they came up with a different chemical structure for some part, named it macrodantin. But the nice thing about macrodantin is that you can use it on a routine basis. Some people that do get UTIs all the time or have a kidney infection, kidney disease, they'll use this, they'll use macrodantin on it because macrodantin is only specific for the urinary tract and it's bactericidal. It's not bacteriostatic like the sulfurs are. So
So I
I
remembered it
know,
correctly, Jerry? I remembered it correctly?
yeah.
Woo! Guys, I remembered something right. Well,
Nailed
high
it.
around.
So,
How many UTIs is too many? I haven't had one since, so I'm like, okay, but
I'm gonna
how
say
many is too many?
I'm gonna
Well,
say
according to
two.
Dr. Rubin, UTIs can kill you.
They
She's
can.
very, like,
They can make you have cuckoo dementia too.
yeah.
I would
So,
say 2 in 2 months is way too much.
That's too
yeah.
Way
much.
too.
And
Uh,
Karen, were you on when I was talking about the vaginal estradiol part? Okay. Sorry. I'm going to repeat it for like the third time tonight. I'm sorry for these people.
I'm I'm
So,
gonna take off, everyone. It's been a long,
oh,
long
I wanted to show you
So
my
episode.
D-mannose, John.
I'm
Oh,
so glad,
okay.
John, that you had a good experience in the hospital. It's reassuring to hear, thankfully.
I mean, the bruises will go away, and the blowouts will heal, and the stitches are coming off next Monday. So,
John, a quick
yes,
question. You said
sure.
they also gave you something to help your urine flow better. What was
No,
that?
I'm already on Flomax and stuff like that.
Oh, you're already on Flomax.
Yeah, yeah. The one of the medicines that they're looking to put me on kind of helps dissolve the sugars better out of your urinary tract, thus
Mhm.
causing less like yeast bloomage,
Infection.
is what I
Yeah.
kind of understood. So I don't know the name of it. I'm still getting set on stuff like that. So
Okay.
did that help? I hope.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Tamsulosin has some pretty weird side effects for a very few people, but I haven't heard you mention them. But there are a couple of side effects that, like in particular, shortness of breath. But and a lot of the urologists don't even know about that one. But we found it out
Okay.
through their experience.
I'll keep that in mind. Absolutely.
Okay.
John, I have
Thank
another
you.
question for you. Like, I mean, you don't really need assignments, and if I'm only saying it here, but if someone was to say it to me, I'd kind of be pissed. But with the amount of times that you've fallen at home, have you thought about maybe having a Hoyer lift? I don't know that it would help, but
Definitely have one, but it was in the bathroom. There's no room for the Hoyer lift
right,
in
right.
there.
Oh, okay.
And with the bleeding, we didn't want to worry about anything like that. So, yeah, we have a Hoyer lift. We've been using it. I got moved around the other night, so that is all good, and all the wheelchairs are good. And I named my main manual wheelchair the bitch because that is what she is. She is the bitch. So good night, everyone. See ya.
Good night. Good
Done.
to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Okay, I believe Christy was up next for wanting to talk about something.
You're
Sorry.
on mute.
Oh, she's good now.
Yeah. So let's discuss this elephant in the room.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm assuming that's not from Steve.
no.
Thank goodness. He's a good guy. I loved it when I met him. He was so sweet. I don't think
Yeah,
that's a
but
Steve.
he's going around. Yeah, I done told her more than twice. So whatever. But people who know Steve know that's not true. Um, no, last Thursday, so the 31st, I was over watching baby, and my friend, she has an ADA ramp in her garage to get into the house. Well, it was freezing in her house, and so me and baby went outside and we played for a little bit, and then I started getting hot, so I said, okay. I was like, Violet, let's go inside. So I made it to the top of the ramp, and she came running behind me, and the door was somewhat behind me. And I went to adjust the wheelchair, and the front right tire of my wheelchair went off the ledge of the platform. And so I went kaboom with said wheelchair down to the garage floor. I split my eye open right here, and I just got the 9 stitches that I had in there taken out yesterday. But I'm just swollen everywhere because I hit head first. Like this whole, I have a goose egg right here. It's pretty bad. Um, Camera doesn't do much justice. Not that I want it to. Um, but yeah, I'm just still black and blue and a little swollen. Um, but yeah, so that was that. That was fun. Ended up taking ambulance ride to the nearest hospital, and it only hurt initially. And I think I freaked out the baby because she was fine. She knew that I'd fallen. And then she came around the corner, like halfway down the top ramp, and she saw that I was dripping blood like a faucet.
Wow.
And she kind of freaked out that even when her mom showed up, she didn't want anything to do with her mom. I felt horrible, but nothing I could do at that point. So, and I can't blow my nose. So sorry for the sniffles, because I also got 2 orbital fractures, and they're really worried that blowing my nose or sneezing out of my nose will cause air to get trapped behind the orbital bone right here. But I have one right here that's a blowout, and then I have a small, somewhere in here, hairline fracture. So, yeah, it's been very interesting for the past week and a half. But yeah, it was nice getting the stitches out yesterday, because it itches now. It still itches, and I can scratch it without it hurting, without my nail catching a stitch and then pulling. So that's kind of nice. Uh, but yeah, that is the. Everybody said I looked like I got into a boxing ring. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you the picture from 2 days after.
Chrissy, that must have been so scary for you, like just to be going over the edge and landing on your head. I'm so sorry.
It happened so quickly that I I just remember it was all in slow motion. So here is, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up very well, but here's the gash
Wow.
Oh boy.
over my eye. That's at the hospital.
Mm.
That definitely is a goose egg.
Yeah. And then so that was on the 31st, and this is on the 2nd, so 2 days later. So,
Oh my.
Nice bruising
yeah,
there.
yeah, there it
But it
is. Much
still looks
better.
like it's healing. Yeah, I mean, it does that after 2 or 3 days.
And then,
We should have I have pictures when I fell on my eye. We should have what do you call it? Like in a gallery, all of our scars.
right,
Well,
right.
we kind of sound like a lot of us had a rough couple of weeks. Sherry having like the heart attack symptoms, John falling and hurting, getting stitches in his toe, Christy, just like,
My fingers never, I don't know if it's, I still can't
my
bend it.
goodness, group, we're like kind of hot hazards tonight,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Right. And then
It's,
the
it's,
bruising. This
it's
is day
scary. Like when you brought it up, I was like, oh
3.
no, I don't want to hear about it more falling because it's
This is day 3. And you can see, let me adjust the picture. You can see that the bruising has moved to my left side.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
wow.
Can
yeah.
you
And
see
then,
okay out of your eye, Christy?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I went to an ophthalmologist because the ER doc was concerned that my muscle would have gotten caught in that blowout fracture. So he wanted me to see an ophthalmologist and just to make sure that there was still movement in my eye,
Hmm.
which there's nothing um, too concerning with the ophthalmologist. Um, and then Steve, he's freaking out because you know the night of the injury, we got home, had a late dinner, and I just sniffled, and a blood clot came out through my mouth.
Ugh.
Then all of a sudden it was like a faucet. My nose just wouldn't, it was like continuous running blood. So I was just like hunched over my trash can that is right by the bed. And it was like I couldn't keep Kleenexes up to my nose for long enough and quick enough. But Steve was also like, we need to go back to ER. I'm like, no, just let me see if I can make this stop. And so he's like, well, tilt your head back. So I tilt my head back and I was like, nope, I'm going to choke on my blood. So it was like coming like a river down the back of my throat.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah. So I just let it do its thing. And about almost a half hour went by before it stopped. And then I got one other nosebleed, and it's the doctor was saying that 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 didn't surprise him with as bad as the blood was pooling up in my forehead, that it needed to come out some way. And he's like, your sinuses are right there. So it was just an easy escape. Like, okay.
but it
And
would have been nice to know.
well, yeah, of course. But I wasn't concerned about it. That's what I was thinking. I was like, because after I was done bleeding and everything, the goose egg was a lot bigger. And then after I was done bleeding and stuff, it had gone down. So I was like, yeah, that makes some sense.
Nine
That
stitches in your eye, that's a lot.
yeah. So it was like from here to here. And then, they numbed me up, but for some reason, the last 4 stitches, it didn't numb me up. So she went to go do the first of the last 4. I was like, ooh, I can feel that one. Ouch. She's like, well, and she goes, you have your options. I can numb you up again, or you can just bite and grin through it. And I was like, just do it. I'm like, so the last 4 stitches I got and I wasn't numb. That was fun. I'm not blaming her because she numbed me up pretty good. It's just for some reason it didn't move to the inside of my eye, and I've endured worse pain when I had a crown or a root canal. So I figure I could handle 3 additional stitches. And she was pretty quick about it. So
I had once I couldn't get numb. I had to have a root canal, something serious, and I just kept feeling it. And the dentist told me to go home. He said, there was like a pretty high number. It's like 50% psychological. That there's sometimes you just will not let it work. And he said, just come back another day. It's not going to happen because my whole face was numb, and it was like, I can still feel it. So I mean, that was surprising to hear. I mean, right? It wasn't even on the internet. It was someone said it. It's part psychological that you could get the numbing. Who would have thought that?
well, mine, I had to, because basically what happened was I wasn't going numb where the root canal was taking place. And that's because there was an infection. And because of that infection, it wasn't accepting the Novocaine, lidocaine, to numb me. So they gave me an option, that they give me an antibiotic and I come back in 14 days, or they just continue, and then as soon as they get down to the root, then they'll inject with the painkiller or the numbing. I said, just do it. I was like, I don't want to come back in 14 days. Just go through it. So that hurt. I'm not going to say that was pleasant, but that did hurt. But as soon as they got to the root, they were able to put the Novocaine in there and I was fine. So,
The
yeah,
cherry's
that
not.
was
Like,
This has been a very graphic, gory session tonight, but we're keeping it real in the MS group. We bring reality to this group, real life stories, situations, things that we experience, which I find so enlightening and helpful, and I appreciate it all.
I did a dumb thing.
What's your
What'd you
dumb
do,
thing,
Sherry?
Sherry?
Well, I was only on steroids 3 days, and I didn't take them today because they're giving me anxiety. So I wheel my manual wheelchair. My grandson had a soccer game way the heck down the field. My daughter was helping me, but I wheeled myself part way, and like now I'm having pain again. So now I'm in a mess because I quit taking the Medrol dose pack and having problems.
Well, I would just go ahead and take it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would just go ahead and I mean, the downside of you taking it now versus tomorrow is it might keep you up more. But if you notice the middle dose pack, because the first day you get it, like it has all this take it like 5 times a day, and you're like,
I took them
what? And they
all at
just say in
once.
this direction, just take it all at once. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what
if you want to, depending if it bothers you, if it affects your sleeping, don't take it tonight, wait tomorrow. But if it does, just take it now, and then take it later in the day tomorrow and take it with food, and
yeah,
just
definitely.
I would just do that. If it's,
is
I don't
that?
want
Are
you
you
to
talking about prednisone?
No,
methylprednisolone.
prednisone.
Oh, okay.
Methylprednisolone. But yeah, just and take it with food, and I don't want you to have more anxiety because you skipped your dose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's like love-hate with those stupid steroids, you know. They
I
give you
understand.
anxiety, and then but you can't do without them sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like the queen of anxiety, man. I don't know where it comes from, but for heaven's sakes, I don't know.
You know, that's a good thing to talk about, Sherry, because I actually had a couple weeks ago, I had some massive anxiety and I don't get anxiety. And I'm like, what do I do? Because it's very maladaptive for me. And this is not helpful to get in that anxiety loop that just gets worse
Hmm.
and worse. And you like do this circular thinking, it goes around and around, and you can't stop. So I'm like, what do I do? And I decided I have been reading this book. It's called Into the Magic Shop. It's about this neurosurgeon. Fascinating book. Anyway, I decided I would meditate. I would stare at a candle because I'm a pyro. I love my fires. I'd stare at the candle and get the brain to stop, to chatter, the DJ in your brain. And so that's what I did. I lit a candle, I stared at the flame, and I really concentrated to like not think anything. And I could get it to stop the chatter in my brain with the anxiety loop.
What do you think triggered it?
Oh, I know exactly what triggered it. It's the
Oh,
hearings I've been going to the last 3 weeks with my mom. That's what triggered it. I'm not going to talk about that online, but that's what triggered it, which really surprised me. But I had to get it like nip it in the bud. So that's what I did, and it helped me tremendously. I couldn't believe how helpful. And I've been doing this. I've been doing this journaling too. I'm doing this book. It's called The Artist's Way. Anyone familiar with it at all? You do these morning
Heard of it.
pages, three pages every day. So I journal, and that helps a lot too with a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was something that cropped up. I'm like, whoa, whoa, this is new for me. I'm not used to anxiety. I gotta nip it here because I understand how quickly it can spiral out of control, and then you just feel like this helplessness. So I just nipped it real fast and took real and me sitting there for 20 minutes staring at a flame and a candle because I get hypnotized by the fire because I'm a pyromaniac. That helped me. And I got that out of that book when this gal was teaching him how to stop the DJ in his brain because he was struggling as a middle schooler. So, anyway, sorry, that was a side note.
well, everybody gets anxiety, especially in this crowd. And how many of our symptoms were blamed on anxiety,
Oh, oh, we don't even want to go there.
right?
Mhm.
I was legally blind for 6 months, and it was anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I've been usually pretty lucky that that's one symptom that usually doesn't unless I'm stressing out about something, like I'm procrastinating on doing something, I'll get anxiety over. But I don't
Yeah.
normally just get an anxiety over because of something that's going on around me. I have more problems with the depression aspect, where I can get too low. But yeah, it's definitely something to be aware of. And like I
They're
said, it can
evil
just spin.
twins. Depression and anxiety are
Mhm.
evil twins.
Mhm.
It seems like when my anxiety's up here, my depression's down a little bit. But then when my depression goes up, my anxiety goes down maybe a little bit. So it's like I'm on a teeter totter. Sorry.
Well, we need those antidotes. I just remember it now because it was way before MS. But I was spinning about something and I had a friend. She goes, "Go in the living room and sing that song for 20 minutes. Relax your mind, relax your mind. You're gonna live for a very long time, and that is why you got to relax your mind." And then I wound up making new verses for it, but that I have to remember to let's do that when I'm spinning.
Does anyone else have any suggestion or helpful hints for anxiety while we're on the topic that has helped them out?
Drugs.
Drugs, which ones do you like? What's your fave? We talked about marijuana earlier. Did that help anyone's anxiety? Was that a good one?
I can't
Sometimes
believe
it
you
Yes.
helps,
use marijuana
sometimes
for
it
anxiety
doesn't.
because that makes me worse usually. But
Sometimes me
no,
too.
yeah, no, like prescription for anxiety. Yeah.
Ativan. They gave me IV Ativan. Oh my gosh, I could have done anything.
Oh,
I was,
It's so addictive, and then after that
yeah.
you become a drug addict. You
Too
know?
bad. I don't get it that often, but man, that sure was nice. No anxiety. That's nice. That's a nice vacation.
You know, the best remedy I know for anxiety, and I'm one of those lucky people that I don't get a lot of anxiety. I live with a lot of depression, but I don't get the anxiety. But it's exactly what Kim did, which is if you can bring your mind back to the moment and the present, and you can hold it there for a while, however you do it. I mean, whether you listen to your breathing, whether you look at a candle, whatever works best for you. You get into that anxiety, try and figure out how to get your mind right there to the point, to the present, and that
Yeah.
can go a long way to controlling it. Now, obviously, people who have more of a serious issue may need anxiety drugs, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But
No.
the quick and easy fix is to do exactly what Kim did. Really smart.
I was surprised for me how effective it was and how quickly it worked. It really shocked me, honestly. I was like, oh, well, maybe this will help a little bit, and actually, really, but it was tough to focus but not focus. Kind of like stare out into space. I had to imagine myself because I love campfires. Campfire junkie here. Um, Imagine myself at the campfire where you just kind of like zone out and look at the fire, and that's what I had to do with the candle. I'm like, look, pretend it's a campfire, and you're zoning out, and you're just
I went to a MS Can Do Jumpstart program last week, and they talked a lot about anxiety and coping mechanisms. And yes, this was one theme that they talked a lot about. In fact, they closed out the program quoting Lady Bird Johnson, who said that the past is history, the future is a mystery, the present is a gift.
Right.
history, mystery, gift. Like it.
Yeah, I know a song with those words, but it's true. I think whatever works, like you reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, I should be like doing that when I'm upset about singing because that calms me down. But it's like Kim, what you said, oh, campfire, when they do like these guided meditations, take yourself, imagine yourself at a beach or whatever it is that I would guess Andrea at the beach because she
That's called
lives there.
imagery.
Imagery.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I use imagery at the doctor's office when they're taking my blood pressure and stuff. I think of Megan's Bay and in the Caribbean. That's my favorite beach. But some people like mountains or sunsets or rainbows. I mean, you pick what calms you down.
Mine's a beach in Jupiter Beach, Florida.
There you go.
Yes, to Key, Florida. That beach was really pretty. I loved it there.
Hmm.
I just feel calmer hearing about people's favorite places to think about. Seriously, it's like, oh, that sounds lovely.
So I had a really nice time, whatever. I learned a lot and I thought the MS Can Do program was good. It was all online. It was a couple of hours on Thursday night and then like 11 in the morning until 5 o'clock on Friday.
Oh,
And I was absolutely exhausted, just exhausted.
missed that.
So what is it? Did you already explain it? What MS Can Do is?
MS Can Do is one of those nonprofit organizations, and they do a lot of uh, patient education, I guess you could call it. And they have experts PT psychologists. They had a neurologist who came and talked to us. And this particular program was more than just a 1 hour uh, webinar that you watch. It was more interactive. You know, you talked, they talked back. I mean, so
How many
Actually,
people? How many
oh,
people?
oh,
there were probably 50, give or take, people that were there, but they broke us up into teams. So like they would have like the whole group together to talk about maybe a topic and then break us up into like groups of six or so, 6 to 8.
Gosh, I'm sorry I missed that one.
I've actually just done a how to reduce falls by Can Do, and it was like every Wednesday in September, and now we're just meeting weekly. And same thing. There was about, oh man, probably 60 or 70 maybe, that we like have sort of a beginning meeting and then do small breakout rooms with a team leader, at least one, if not two. And they had a psychologist, they had two, three PTs, I think. It was really good.
So Sherry, just Google MS Can Do. They have
Yeah,
a lot of programs that you can register for.
I've been to a few of them. I think they are the Moves with Mandy that I was
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
but I missed that one somehow. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I think it was like I had tried to register for one earlier and I was denied. They had too many people registering. So this, I think, was kind of like
An
an
extra.
extra one that they put together for the people, the overspill from the last one.
Oh, okay.
And
I've
what was
never
it called?
heard of this group before. The Can Do. That
Yeah, I never heard of
sounds
that
like a
either.
really great resource.
It's a fabulous resource. There's a gold winner um,
Jimmy,
skier in the Olympics way back
Jimmy
in
Huga.
Jimmy
the
Huga.
day, Jimmy Huga. He had he got the gold medal and then shortly thereafter was diagnosed with MS and had trouble. Like they were telling him to sit and not move, and he's like, that doesn't sound right. But anyway, he started up this patient advocacy organization, and it's MS Can Do. They're based out of Colorado. Um, I'll Google it and put
Put
the
it in the chat for me, please.
yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea.
Um, I think I'm gonna hit the road. It's been really nice, but I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin. So
Okay. Well, it's
It's
bye.
good
getting late
seeing
for
you.
me too,
Yeah.
Jen.
See you all
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right, take care. I'm signing out.
Bye,
Bye.
Jen.
And I think I'm going to do the same.
Yep. It's getting late here too. Good night,
I just
everyone.
I just want to put in the chat, you just hear different things at different times when it works for you, and sometimes you don't want to hear it, sometimes you do. So I've been listening to Dr. Ben Thrower with the MS Foundation. I think YouTube just fed it to me. He has a lot of Q&A things, and just for me, but I was thinking about you, Carmen, too. He's just, for me, he's just been at, he's like gets fired on like a bunch of questions, like 25 questions in an hour. And I just feel like he's so smart and articulate, and he has a thought about everything. It's like I've almost never seen him thrown like I don't understand or what is this. For me, I just feel like I don't know. I think he travels with my neurologist somehow. That his reactions are just wow. He always has an opinion about something. He always knows, and he says, "Well, I don't know this much about that particular thing, but." Um, yeah, sometimes you feel like digging around about MS or you want to can do, and then sometimes you just no can do, don't feel like it, don't want to just do something else. So, but I notice he's doing a program. Are you tired of being tired? I think it's like not I think maybe next Tuesday. But how many of us can relate? Are you tired of being tired?
That's a great
Mhm.
phrase.
And they
Not a
always
great
say,
phrase to enjoy to experience, but it resonates well
yeah,
with
yeah,
me
yeah.
for
And so, there's always, I think I looked at June or, I just looked at a few, but I think it was from Kim. You sent me something. You go, I thought about you. And I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah. So that was, I always say his name wrong. It's like Bieber.
Bieber.
I'm
He's
not.
like Justin Bieber, but not Beater.
Yeah, a redheaded version of him. No, what made me think of it, Karen, is that he was talking about all the different, issues with it, and you always complain about the clinical trials don't have, it's
Oh, yeah.
younger people. I mean, I think the oldest they do is like 45, maybe 55. So the older, cohort doesn't get any. And then talking about the people that are studied, like their mobility is not that limited. So you're just, people. It just felt like he was saying all these things. I'm like, this is that's what Karen talks about. So I thought of you.
I did the content of it was good, but he had this really odd presentation. I watched another one. Maybe that's why they fed me Ben Thrower after that, because he's sort of like, let me just tell you what I think about MS, and I'm going to tell you about this. And the whole time he was just sort of this, and you might think this, but I think that, and it was like, whoa, had to get past the presentation. And then he was a little better on another one, but he has Andrea left. But he also, I think he wrote the book on MS Resilience and MS that Andrea had mentioned, and it was on Amazon, and it's
You're talking
free.
about Beaver still,
The
not
Beaver, yeah,
Thrower.
whatever. Not
Yeah,
who,
it was a
yeah, yeah,
free
that she
book.
had recommended, because then I got curious because his presentation was just like, okay, I'm from New York, I'm used to it, but he was just, bye, Frank. He was just like, I was like, wow, dude, I like what you're saying, but whoa, I guess I come across like that. Like, but his book about MS and resilience, I did download. I remember Andrea brought it, and you can get it for free on Amazon, without even being an Amazon anything. And I remember reading like halfway through, I thought it was really good, and then the MS brain went, that was really good. I have it, but I don't look at it. So
Reminder to finish the book, Karen.
what?
It's a reminder to finish the book.
Yeah, like all the other things I need to do.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, I just thought his presentation was so odd, but then I remember being wowed by and if I thought the book was good, then I'll probably look at it again and go, because sometimes people recommend books and I read them and I go, and then I go, maybe I'll give it another, nah, that's it.
So I did have a new MS symptom I experienced for the first time last week on the 7th and 8th, a little bit of the 9th. So I was out of town, staying in a hotel with my mom, doing this hearing business, third week now. And I was walking in the morning because I want to get exercise before it gets hot. So I just go down the sidewalk. And on my way back, my right foot, I would strike my heel, but my foot, instead of rolling, it would just flap. So I don't know what they call. I don't know the medical term for that, but it was just like suddenly. So I'm walking and you hear the audible hitting, and it starts to bother my toes. And I'm trying like brain wise to like roll your foot, and it went away when I went later to Walmart. But it happened the next day, and I looked at my phone like, how far did I walk? It's like a mile and a quarter when it started happening. I'm like, okay, new thing now.
So
Decrease the
it's not,
duration,
is
increase
it
the
not,
frequency.
is it not foot drop? It's something else.
No, I was not dragging my foot. I was walking, but I just wasn't doing this with my foot. I was going hit flap, hit flap, hit flap. So
Because
That's
before I
feedback.
got diagnosed, I used to walk. I was a big walker, and before I got diagnosed, I'd walk with my crazy neighbor at night. He's like pretty crazy, but we're night owls, so it's like 11 o'clock at night. We'll take a walk. I'm like, too bad I'm with him. Be looking at looking at the big, but he'd go, you're clomping again, you're clomping, and so it sounds like, yeah, I don't even know
my
if
left
mine was
foot was
foot drop or
fine. My left
clomping.
foot was just rolling and
Well, it's my
quiet, and
right
this one was
foot that
flap,
has foot
flop.
drop, but he would like, you're clomping again, you're clomping.
Hmm.
So it was before I even got diagnosed.
What were you saying, Marlo?
My PT does refer it to, she told me you're flapping your foot.
Okay, so
That's the word she used.
okay, because I was telling my mom like my foot's all floppy right now, like I got a floppy foot. And it went away later on because I'm like, to me, that was like my body going, whoa, whoa, you're doing too much. You need to back off. And that's when I got the intuition, like, you need to go buy a yoga mat. That's why I went to Walmart. And it's just like, what? I got a yoga mat at home. Like, yeah, but you need one here right now. And so I went to go get a yoga mat, and it was like, the intuition was like, I have a nice yoga mat at home, y'all, but it's like, it's my husband's tall, so it's this long mat and it weighs like 5 pounds, which feels super heavy to me. Like, get the lightest weight yoga mat you can find. So I found one. There's two, and one of them was a little spongier, but also had the little cord with the loops on the end, so you can carry it around and it doesn't unravel. So I got it, and I started doing yoga. The yoga that Marie suggested to us like a month or so ago, Yoga by Bird. Love her. It's very soothing. She has 5 minute, 7 minute, 15-minute yoga. And the cool thing about her yoga is Yoga by Adrienne from Austin, Texas is great, but I never know what I'm going to get when I click on one of her links. Is it going to be like kick your butt yoga where you're like doing all these movements, but this gal, it's more like you're stretching and you're holding these poses, and it's very gentle. And then if it's like a flow yoga where you're actually doing I can't even say what the moves are when you stand up, you fold, and then you do the shavasana, and she lets you know. So check her out if you're interested.
Who is
I
it?
am feeling
Who is it again?
yoga. It's yoga with bird. Bird like
Bird
the
or bird?
animal bird. Yeah, I'll just say yoga with bird. And this is what Marie recommended to us that she used. It was like a month or two ago. And she is awesome. She's Canadian, Carmen.
Oh,
She is
cool.
Canadian. So, she's nice.
Good.
But no, so I've been really enjoying at the hotel that I've been stranded at during most of the last 3 weeks. So I started doing yoga, and then on Friday when I got kicked out of the hotel at 11 a.m. and then I was stuck, I didn't want to go to the hearing. Went to a park because it was a beautiful day. Had my yoga mat. I bought the 2 yoga foam bricks, and I got to lay down. I got to do yoga in the park, and it was like this glorious, rejuvenating day for me. But it could have been a really yucky day, and I made it a really amazing day and enjoyed the weather. And so the moral of the story is, when your gut says you need to buy a yoga mat and you're like, just go do what your gut says is the best thing for you, okay? Just listen to your intuition and it doesn't steer you wrong. So yeah, and now I've been doing yoga every day, and I'll do like maybe 3 15-minute sections. Sometimes I'll do 2 together, or I'll just space it out. And then I do the one flow session that's kind of kicks my butt because you do a lot of holding the downward dog, which is my upper arms. I'm not that, strong. I break down quickly and I have to take breaks. But it's really helped my flexibility already. I'm like, man, turning my head is not so hard. Like when you're like looking for the cars behind you for your turn, it's already making a big difference for me with my flexibility. And it's just really, I'm not sweating except for the flow one. Then I have to blow the fan on because my perimenopause and the MS heat kicks on. And
So why
but
why does yoga with bird? Doesn't she charge?
no, she has a subscription if you want like the longer sessions, but I don't want longer sessions. I want
Oh, they're like
something that
10 minutes.
I can be
Oh,
like, oh, it's a 10-minute break. Okay, well, I'll find a 7-minute yoga to do during this break. So that's for me, if I see like a 45-minute or an hour or 30-minute, then I'll be like, oh, that's too much. I can't do that. And so that's a barrier for me. But if I go, oh, yeah, I can do well, I got like 10 minutes right now. I can slip in a 10-minute yoga right now, and then so I go do it, and then 10 minutes is done, and I'm done. It's like, nice. I'm like, oh, I have energy. I'll do another one. So it's just a little trick I've been doing, and it's lightweight, so now I can go up and downstairs because I have to go downstairs when I do the flow one because it's cooler downstairs, and I have my big fan that I blow on me to keep me cool, and it's just been a nice little thing. But it would not have happened if I didn't listen to my intuition that says, buy a yoga mat and
I'm
buy
going
the
to get
bricks.
guys. Thanks so much. I'll
Good
see
seeing you,
you.
Carmen. 2 weeks, September 26th is our next meeting.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
yoga never works for me. I mean, I like the postures, but I like the postures. I want to like it, and then people always go, well, you got to try this kind and that kind, and it's like, but it always like it puts me in a trance. I fall asleep and it puts me in a trance, and I'm like, ugh, what just happened? And then I was doing a little bit at home because over there on this bed is like really super hard.
Hmm.
So the part I liked, there was yoga for disability, and then at the beginning of pandemic, she was doing it online. So I'd go to that just because I like the part that says lay down and rest.
This
Like,
gal is really big in the, is it Shavasana, where you lay down at the end and you kind
yeah,
of like
yeah,
do like
that's
a
the
dead
part I
man.
like.
Yeah,
So I
she
would
does
do
that
just
at the
that.
end at most of them, or a child's pose at the end. She has a good, nice little warm up and a little cool down. So I really like her. She has a very soothing voice, and I had to buy the yoga bricks because I knew that some of my flexibility, I just need that help, where my head couldn't make it down yet, and I just need a little help there. So I got the foam ones because they're lightweight. I'm all about compact and lightweight with my life right now. That's like the theme of my life. So it's like, that's what we're
Well,
doing.
I can't get on the ground and get up, so that wasn't going to
Hmm.
work. But the bed worked because it's so hard. But
And that's what I was doing at the hotel originally before I bought the yoga mat. I was doing the yoga on the bed.
so now I have 2 yoga mats to give away because I'm not using them.
Well, if shipping
That
wasn't
there was
expensive, I would take them off your hands, but it's not
there
worth
was this
shipping.
odd, well, they weren't expensive anyway. There was this odd woman who did MS yoga for MS in my neighborhood. It was well before the pandemic, but I probably went a year before that happened. So it was the year I got diagnosed, 2019. But it was the only place. I live in a residential neighborhood. There's not like a lot that happens here other than grocery stores and restaurants, but culturally, and it just happened to be less than a mile from my house, yoga for people with MS. And I don't like mornings, but I'm like, really, how could you not? It's here and it's free. And the MS Society like sponsors it. I don't think they pay for it. So I would go to that. But that was the first time, the kind of the only time I would go because the yoga was ridiculously not very good. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could be in a room. I could
we
be in
have
a room
yoga
with,
for MS here. It's one of
yeah,
our PTs that does it, and she does it where it's essentially you can do it standing up or sitting down, but
yeah,
it's chair yoga. She does the chair yoga, and then if
yeah.
you
Well,
want to,
but she just wasn't very good at it, because
mhm,
she'd be like, she'd see me and I'm a quick, it's a fairly quick progression. It's not a relapse, it's just a steady decline. And she'll be like, stand on one leg. And it's like, are you crazy? Stand on one leg. So why don't you just sit in a chair then? It's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just so for me. And then when the pandemic hit, I guess she still did it online, but I was like, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. But I was finally like with other people who had MS, like somebody who had the opposite of me. Oh, your left side is weak. People who couldn't drive anymore or were taking paratransit. So it was just like at least to be around other people.
mhm. Well, I think I'm going to conclude unless anyone else wants to say anything else, because I think my husband wants to go to bed and I'm in the bedroom. So I think I'll be in out of state again next time. So funness there. But
Will you
sorry about my
be
chaos.
back?
I was all over the board today with my lack of sleep and steroid on board. I felt like I was just all over. So thanks for bearing with that. And I'll hopefully see you all in 2 weeks.
Hey, everybody.
Night. Bye.